Okay, Chris, you have the privilege of reading the story today. The person that wrote in, go ahead and take it away.
Thank you. Since I'm the only one awake today, let me go ahead and read this story here. All right, so
Thanks.
this was a good one. I am excited to tackle this one.
I haven't even read it yet.
I know you don't even know what's going to happen.
I don't.
All
I'm
right,
super excited. I get to react right away.
on the fly. Okay,
Okay.
so our anonymous writer said, "My parents have been very generous financially with myself and my siblings, whether it be through support during our college years, nice birthday gifts, lots of gifts for our kids, which are their grandkids. My dad seems to always give selflessly, even when we refuse the gift or the money. You truly sense that it's an absolute joy to give and that it's one of his love languages. My mom, however, seems to give begrudgingly. She always makes it a point to let us know how much money how much money down to how much money down to the cent she spent on something for us as a gift, and it seems to come with strings attached. What advice do you have on how/if I should bring this up to my mom? I try to refuse gifts for this reason, but it's also my dad's money and heart to give, so it's a bit of a confusing situation."
Whoa.
That's a good one, isn't it?
That's a good one.
So
I
do
love
you
it.
you want to hop in? Do you feel you have enough brain energy to hop into that first? You want me to jump
Oh,
into it
yes,
first?
I do.
Go
So,
for it.
okay, I think about how would I treat my mom in this situation,
Mm,
right? My mom and I have a very good relationship. We're very close.
you guys
Like,
do.
yes. So, like, if she, for instance, if I felt like she was overstepping her bounds in like grandparenting and like trying to take over and do like parenting, which she doesn't do that. She did it whenever they were, maybe she did it like when they were younger. Like, I have no issue being like, Mom, that's not your job. That's my job. Like, I
Oh,
have no issue
you can
saying
be
that.
direct. You can just go in
I
there
can
and
be
just say,
direct with her. And she'll be like, "You're right." And she accepts it. And she doesn't
"Wow,
get her feelings hurt. But that's the thing though, is she's not like an emotional person. So she doesn't let her feelings be hurt, or at least like if they are hurt, she deals with them in a healthy way.
that is a
So
healthy relationship you have there." I have
it
to say.
is. It is. So, like, I mean, even Matt has told her, like, Kathleen, stop. You're like, he's even been like, no, stop. That's not your job to do that. And it was really when they were like toddlers, right? Because you have that, the very
Yeah.
excited. You're going to see that with your mom. We're like, they know best. And, oh, let
Oh yeah.
me,
I've already seen little things hop up there
exactly.
with Yeah.
Exactly. So for me, what I would say to my mom is when she tells me like, "Oh, we spent $390.56 on that." I would just say, "You didn't have to. That was your choice." Like, that's what I would say. You didn't have to do that. That was totally your choice. Do you want to take it back? Do you want me to pay
Oh.
you for that? Like, but I would say like that kind of stuff to my mom because I have that ability to do that. And I realize that that is not what every relationship, what every like parent-child relationship is like.
Yeah.
Um,
Yeah.
but I would be kind of spicy.
Yeah. I mean, I feel like
But
I would
you
be.
wouldn't. You wouldn't be
Oh.
spicy, would
Oh,
you?
I would be 100% direct. My brother knows. My brother has seen me and my mom get into little arguments here and there. I would be very direct. But I haven't had to deal with this. My mom, she loves to give gifts. Loves
Mm-hmm.
to give gifts. That's her thing. Like every Christmas, every birthday, that's her thing. She has to do it. It has to be equal for everyone. She's like, oh,
That's how
that's her
my
thing.
mom is.
Is it?
It is. It has to be equal. But Matt's parents aren't, and it just like blows my mind. I'm like, they didn't give the same amount for this and this. Matt's like, so? But my mom, it's down to the penny. Like when I have
Oh
little
yeah.
kids, she would come and visit and she would buy us groceries. So she would like spend $200 to just buy us groceries to be nice. And then she would turn around and send my brother and sister-in-law a $200 gift card because they lived far away.
Yeah.
So she would send them like a grocery store gift card.
My
Like,
mom is the exact same way. Like if
oh,
your Christmas gift costs more than someone else's, then the other person's gonna get either another gift or some cash to balance it out. Like
yep,
she's over there doing
like
accounting work.
$23.
There we go. That's about even. Like it has to be the same.
Yep.
So I haven't
That's how my mom is.
dealt with this. Like my dad is not a gift giver. Like he'll just straight up hand you some cash. Like here you go. Hey, at Merry Christmas. Like it's not wrapped. There's no card. He just hands it to you, which I'm okay with. Thank you. But
Yeah.
I think in this situation here,
Is receiving money your love language?
that is my love language. Oh, cash. Thank you so much because I can spend it on anything. Uh, but I think what this person's struggling with, right, is the fact that not only is the mom kind of making it a big deal, like making it like, oh, I look what I gave you and this is how much it is, just so you know I bought you an expensive gift or whatever.
Yeah.
But also the dad loves giving gifts, and they kind of feel like it's coming from both of them. They're treating it as
Yeah.
almost like, the dad was also behind this gift, so I don't want to insult it. And I don't know what
Right.
their structure is like. Like my parents, my mom sometimes would do the whole, gift from both of them. Like she just writes both their names on the card, her and my
Yeah, but it's
dad,
really from
but it's
her.
really from her.
Yeah,
But
that's
there
how
are
it is.
times, same way.
Yeah, same way.
But then
We
sometimes they'll
basically
do,
have the same parents.
I think so. I feel like what we grew up was pretty similar. But then sometimes they'll both give individual gifts. And
Mhm.
I don't know what the situation is like, if they're doing individual gifts or if they're joint gifts and they're feeling like they have to be respectful because the dad is part of it.
Yeah,
I don't
I
know
think it sounds like they're giving joint gifts, but maybe that's just the way I've always received gifts from my parents. But
yeah,
here's what I would recommend doing. When I'm thinking through this situation, I think that, obviously she doesn't know how to bring this up because, or
no.
I assume it's a she because that's just always what I think. But just because I'm a girl, I don't know.
And I think we
But
have the majority of people who listen to our show, I think, are women too. So I think
yeah.
it's a safe assumption.
So I do think that she's wondering, okay, how do I bring this up? So I think really there's two times that you
Mm.
could bring this up. Option A is to bring it up in the moment when the comment happens,
Oh, yeah, just
right?
attack it head on.
Yeah. Option B is to plan it maybe like before the holidays hit, just like knowing you're going into this conversation, right? So I think like number one, figure out when do you want to have this conversation? Do you want it to be in the moment or do you want to sit both of your parents down and just be like, hey, there's something that's on my heart? Right? Because I
Mm.
think that you also have to think about how will your mom receive the information best? Because this
Yeah,
isn't
yeah.
about you, right? And it's going to this isn't a problem that you have. It's a problem that she might be upset whenever you do approach this because it feels like criticism, it feels like maybe ungratefulness, but it's not. So you have to think, okay, when is the sorry, I'm getting distracted.
Okay, we gotta pause to read this comment here. So this came from Scroggy Mama. She said, "And now my daughter's asking her father why his forehead is not shiny like Chris's since they're both bald."
Okay, in Discord, this is the joy you get when you join Patreon. Okay, you get
Oh,
to send us messages in the middle of our recording and we see
it
them
completely throw us off.
and completely throw us off like Scroggy Mama just did, where we are now all going to compare Chris's bald forehead to anyone else that has a bald forehead. So, Chris, how is it that you get your forehead so shiny? Is it a special oil? Is it a wax? Is
Oh
it
yeah,
sweat? What
yeah.
is it?
It's this natural recipe called sweat that comes from my body. I'm sure because I have to I have to close the windows and the door in this room, and then I have to turn my AC off. So I am hot. I'm probably sweating right now. I have no towel. I should have brought a towel with me so I can dab this sweat off of me.
Don't. I mean, it looks nice,
You like it
right? It looks
like I
like
polished my forehead?
you know what it looks like? It looks like when you're standing outside and there's just like this bright moon
Oh,
shining.
okay,
It's
you know
like
what? Back to the situation. So you said there was two
there's
times you could
two
address
times.
this.
There's two times whenever they can bring this up, either in the moment or a planned like sit down. So let's talk about how you can approach it in each of those times.
Okay, let's go for it.
Okay, what do you think? Let's talk about like, they receive a gift. Mom starts being begrudging. She starts making these passive aggressive, it sounds very passive aggressive comments and starts letting everyone know how much money they spent. What do
Ooh.
you think would
See,
be a way you could address this in the moment?
so I'm gonna give two answers. I'm gonna give the mature answer and then how I might actually respond in this situation.
I love
So
the honesty.
the mature way to do this is I wouldn't do this if anyone else. I guess I'm looking at Discord. I wouldn't do this if anyone else was there, right? So if there's other family there, if this is a larger event, I'm not going to address it head on. If I have aunts and uncles and cousins there, because
Right. Because
if
there's a
you
respect
it's a
level.
respect level, even though maybe they're disrespecting you with these comments and making you uncomfortable. You're not gonna help the situation by making it blow up in front of other people because the mom might get defensive. She might, feel hurt, and it could blow up into way more than you want this to. So if there's anyone else there, I'm not gonna talk about it. But if we're by ourselves, it's just like my parents and then maybe my brother. Then I would address it head on and say, it does kind of bother me that you make it a point to tell us how much you spent on this. Like, we're not trying
Mhm.
to make you have any financial hardship. If it's too expensive and you want to just let us know, you don't have to get us a gift. Just being here is enough. Just hanging out with family. We don't need you to buy anything. We're just
Wise.
gonna be. That's what I would say to diffuse it. Now, what I
Right.
would say is I would have some
Uh-oh.
sarcastic comment back.
What's he gonna say to Mama Browning?
I'd be like, you know what? I brought my checkbook with me if you need to be reimbursed. I would say I would probably have some joke back like that,
Oh,
because like okay, you want to make it uncomfortable, I can make it uncomfortable and awkward as well. But again, I
okay.
would do that because my family, we joke probably too much and we get into these joking situations like this, but it doesn't help have a healthy, mature conversation. So I think the appropriate way to handle it, and I don't do what
Yes.
I do, would be to
Don't
just
do what
let
Chris
them
would
know,
do.
hey, this does bother me. Like, it makes me uncomfortable that you talk about this. And, if it's an issue of price, don't worry about getting us anything. It doesn't have to be that, we're fine without gifts. Like, I would address it head on if it really bothers you and it just keeps coming up, because it's going to keep happening. Clearly, it's going to just, every time you get a gift, you're going to have to hear one of these sarcastic comments that really bothers you.
Right. And also in this, she said that there's also seems to be strings attached
Yeah, like, don't
to the
don't
gift.
expect something back, or I got to do a favor
Exactly.
for you that you got me a gift now.
Exactly. So I think also like that could be one of the things that maybe could be addressed, just to just be like, hey, like you said, you don't really have to give us a gift if it's too much money, or why don't we set a limit? Like, what if we set a limit
Mm,
for the gift? Because
I
maybe
like that.
what the thing is, the mom is saying, oh, it's like all, up and down. It's not this like consistency. When I was growing up, my mom would spend $100. This was in high school, on each child every Christmas.
The two of you, you and,
$100.
you and your brother, right?
My brother was allocated $100. I was allocated $100.
Mm.
And it was never this like, why aren't we getting more? Because it was always consistent throughout our entire, like, I guess since I found out about the truth about Santa.
Hey, 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 hey.
No, there's kids listening.
The
Um,
kids that
but
watch this show.
So ever since then, it was always this consistency. Never went up, never went down due to inflation or anything, right? So there was never this like, oh, so they're spending more one time 1 year and less 1 year. And so
Mm.
that's also not a roller coaster for my parents to have to, it was always the same. They always had this planned amount. So maybe that's what they need as well. Maybe they need like this set budget, this set amount of expectation.
Yeah, then there's no
But my
obligation.
Yeah,
Yeah.
there's no obligation. So, and maybe the mom thinks that there's expectations. I don't know. But let's say that they decide to wait and like approach and have a conversation before the
Okay.
holidays hit, before this
So
happens.
this is preemptively. So not waiting until after it happens, but hopping in before they have the situation.
Because they have seen and identified a pattern.
They know it's coming. Like, you already know this is happening. Clearly, they know it's happening because they wrote us this message. Oh wait, but
Yeah.
before we get into that, I want to ask you a quick question based off of something Scroggy Mama wrote in here. She
Oh.
said, "Is the so we mentioned, or I mentioned that, if this is happening in front of other people, I would wait and do it privately." Now Scroggy Mama
Mhm.
says, "Well, is the mom doing this publicly or privately?" Now, does that change things for you, Allison? If your mom would never do this, but if this was your mom here, if she was making these comments in front of other people, would that make you feel like you have the permission to address it publicly in front of everyone else who's there, since they kind of started it in that
No,
type of way?
I wouldn't. I'm wondering, I'm honestly wondering, like, what insecurities does this mother have
Mm,
that she has like that she is giving begrudgingly? Like, is there an issue with their money? Does she feel this way because they are struggling financially, or this is a strain financially, or
mm,
this means that she can't spend money on what she wants? Is she doing this begrudgingly because she doesn't see the value in giving gifts? Maybe she's a gift receiver, not a gift giver. Is she doing it because she feels like she wants something back that's like of equal value, but maybe her kids can't afford, like, I mean, my parents can afford to give us more, and there have been times in our life where they've been able to afford to give us way more expensive gifts than we've given them. But
mm.
there was
Yeah.
never this expectation that if they spent this amount on us, we have to spend that amount on them. But does she have that? Like, what is it
What's going on
that's
with her?
what's going on is what I'm wondering. And obviously, like, we can't do that. Even the person who wrote in, like, that's not their problem. That's that's her problem that she has to work through. But I'm just curious, like, what's causing that.
Yeah, and you know what? Oftentimes when people, especially like older people, act in this type of way, because older people, they're set in their ways. They don't
Right.
easily change. I'm thinking about my
Are you
parents. They don't
talking
easily.
about me?
And you too, being 84 years old, sorry, 85. They don't easily change, and often it's like a response to something they experience. Like they were treated in this way, so they're just like, we're just this is how you just treat people. Like they don't.
Mm.
It can be hard to get over whatever hurt or trauma they dealt with. So maybe they came from a family where they didn't really give gifts, or like their parents were like super mean, or like threw guilt trip on them for everything they
Yeah.
gave them, and then they're just repeating the same thing.
Yes.
And so that could be it. I mean, I don't know if this person knows much about their grandparents and how they treated their mom, but that could be
Yeah.
something that just that stuck with them, and they just can't let it go, and they treat everyone the way they were treated.
Yeah, but this is just turning into one big therapy session.
It is. That's how
Because I
these
mean,
shows go.
really, I mean, and it's like, I don't know. So let's say that she does decide to sit her down preemptively.
Okay, we're back to
What
all
I
right, back
say
to
is
preemptive.
having the dad there too, like assuming this is a
A
good
witness, just
like
in case,
dynamic.
it blows up. Be like, look,
A witness.
someone's watching this.
I was thinking of like teamwork. And then just saying like, we are always so thankful for what you do and like the gifts you give, and you go above and beyond, and it's never expected.
Mm,
However, sometimes I feel, right, because it's like an I statement. I feel guilty accepting your gift whenever whenever you mention the cost of the gift or there are strings attached to the gift.
mm.
You might not realize that this is how it's making me feel, but then it makes me not want to accept the gifts. So I'm asking if moving forward,
You
you
keep it to
either
yourself.
choose to, yeah, you either choose to not make those comments, or you choose to not give gifts that, or you choose to not give gifts, right? Which
Yeah.
I don't think they're going to do that. But I mean,
No.
that's like what you say. And so it's creating that very clear boundary of that. And then remembering that, ultimately, this is ultimately a problem that the mom has and is working through, I think. And
Yeah.
unfortunately, whoever the daughter or daughter-in-law, whoever, I guess it's a daughter or son, whoever this is
Yeah.
that wrote in, is being put in an awkward position because of it.
Yeah, and I don't know if they've tried to talk to the dad as well.
Mhm.
Sometimes, like the dad doesn't want to rock the boat. He's like, "Look, I'm not trying to get into this argument, so I'm not going
Yeah.
to I'm not going to step in here and say anything." But I really like the way you approach that. I think that's a very fair way to confront them, but also not jumping in there, pointing the finger, and like coming in there hot
Mhm.
and causing an argument.
Exactly. Well, and just saying, and then also saying, like, we want these experiences together to be like really great memories where
Mm,
everyone feels very loved and when everyone feels very happy. And it, when you say things like this, we don't feel, loved or happy, or maybe you don't even say that. Maybe you say, like, I don't, it doesn't feel that way. I don't feel that way.
you're kind of taking
And
away from
so,
it. You're kind of ruining the
yeah, right?
moment.
Like you're dampening like the mood. It's just, I don't know. It's like everything was happy, and no one goes and says like, "Oh, I got you this gift, but here's exactly what I spent on it," unless you have
Exactly.
some sort of like, I mean, I'll do that to Matt, but it's because we share finances. Like,
it's
that's
all it's all
why.
your the same money anyways.
Exactly. So anyway, that's
Cool.
what I think.
No, I think that makes sense. I think that's a good way to approach it, because you gotta face it. You gotta go tackle this head on, because if not, this is clearly going to keep happening. Like she's gonna keep doing
Absolutely.
this. You're gonna keep getting annoyed. And the situations where you're giving gifts are normally ones where you want to be in a good mood. You want to have a good time. And this is really, starting to put a damper on it. But, I have to
Exactly.
always come in here with the worst case possible scenario, Allison. What if they confront this mother and just like very respectfully, hey, this is how I feel, and they don't accept it, and they are like,
Mm.
you're blowing this out of proportion. I'm just trying to give you a gift, and I just want to tell you how much I spent on it, and I don't know why you're offended by that. Now, what do they do if they get that kind of feedback?
Ooh, great question. Then I think you could say something like, um, I understand you feel this way, but I'm also telling you how I feel.
Mm,
And this is how I feel. Because no one can say that you're like it's one thing to say you're blowing this out of proportion. It's another thing to say like you can't tell me that what I'm feeling is a lie,
yeah.
right?
Yeah.
What I'm feeling might not be healthy, but you can't tell me it's a lie, right? Like all the time. Um So that's what I think you would say. It's like, I understand that you feel that way. I understand that this is the way you see it, but this is how it makes me feel. And this is how it's made me felt for several years.
Mm,
And I wanted to address it so that we can have a better relationship. And when I think that you're looking at it like that, like when you look at it with the end in mind, saying, like, what are you really wanting to get out of this?
yeah.
You're not wanting to make, mom feel like crap. You're not
Exactly.
like that's not the goal here. The goal is to create an environment where everyone feels welcome, where there's not any of this like passive aggressive, conversations, where it's healthy and that there are boundaries. And so when you
Mm,
are going with that intent and you remember that, I think that it can be a lot easier to approach these conversations.
yeah. Yeah. You don't want this to be a battle, a war, because no one's gonna enjoy themselves and come out happy with the
Mhm.
way this all turned out. So no, I like that.
Yeah, and I have done this with family, is if there's, like you said, like, this blow up where, it just doesn't go well, like, what I do is if I see that the conversation is not going in a productive way, like, I shut it down, and I'll say, "I don't think we need to talk about this anymore." Like, I will shut it down.
Yeah.
I've done that with politics, with family. I've done I've done that with, like, religion with like, I've done that with different things that it's like, "You know what? This is not a productive conversation anymore. We're only gonna hurt each other, so let's stop and maybe talk about it later and maybe not."
Yeah, that's good because sometimes there are people who want to fight. Like they're looking for some drama. They're like, okay, here we go, my time to shine. Let's just go ahead and blow this up.
Oh,
And you don't
see,
want to
I
have
don't
this
like
on
the
Christmas.
drama. No, I don't like being part of the drama, but I like watching the drama on TV.
Yeah, I don't understand it. Like I don't want to be in it, and I don't want to watch other people having it because I'm like this feels very
I'll watch it
unpleasant.
on TV. It's amazing.
Oh my god. Yeah. On that note, your drama TV. I think we covered it pretty well. I think we've done a good job talking through this. I want to hear back from this writer. So let us know if you get a chance to have this conversation. We're getting into gift giving season. Where I'm interested to hear how that goes, and if you decide to, I mean, because you don't have to. I mean, sometimes you just like I can't handle this right now. Maybe next year, maybe next Christmas, I'll address this. But I'm interested to
Mhm.
hear how this goes if they do.
Yeah. Yes, let us know. And then also let us know, like, if you think you might, like, which plan are you gonna take? Are you gonna
Oh yeah,
approach it
yeah.
when it happens? Or are you going to, like, wait and try to preemptively strike?
I'm gonna hide in the backseat of their car, my mom's car, and when she pulls out for work, I'm gonna jump out and say, "Why do you keep telling me how much my gifts are?"
Exactly.